Howdy everyone, it's David from Southbound I-35, and I just need to make a quick video about something that I feel needs to be said. Um, First off, I would like to preface this by saying I'm not into the business of hating on people for doing things they love. I am not in the business of down-talking. I do not like down-talking people. I do not like ragging on people. Even if I don't like their stuff, I don't like ragging on people. I also need to preface this by saying I'm not very familiar with Sam Hunt. I know as of today 2 songs of his, We Can Leave the Night On and Break Up in a Small Town. But he is what I am here to talk about now. First off, to start this out, I was somewhere and The Voice was on in the background. I had watched a little, but at the point where this story starts, I was busy with something, and my friend looked up and said, "Why is there a fire on that stage?" And I looked up, and it was a bonfire set piece behind someone who, on there, I'm like, oh, and I paid attention to the music. I think it's supposed to be someone doing supposed country song. He was like, oh, like the modern country. I'm like, yeah, that. And so, this is important to clarify that I said supposed country because, to me, country is each genre has their own quirks and their own things that, when you hear them or see them, you can tell that they're rap or R&B or country or rockabilly or rock and roll or rock or heavy metal. The only difference you could say, the only one you could say arguably doesn't is pop, because pop is usually whatever's popular at the time. And what I perceive as popular right now is R&B and electronic dance music and various different, some acoustic stuff, but they usually fall into those main categories. I mean, Adele's pop music, and she's pop music that I enjoy. But I'm getting off track here. For country, there are 3 main things. For each genre, there's, I'd say, 3 different things that you look at to see what it is. Instrumentation and vocals, overall image, and lyrical content. For country, instrumentation and vocals usually, but doesn't always, have a southern twang to it. Usually it will consist of some form of guitar, fiddle, piano, or keyboard, also possibly electric guitar if you're going more on the rock side of it, and any number of, steel guitar, obviously, bass, and any other number of stringed instruments, banjo, depending on the region you come from. If you're going to be in the mountains, you'll probably have more dulcimer and banjos, or maybe mandolins, dulcimers and banjos in the Appalachian area. In Louisiana, you might have accordions in your country music. Some of it is regional, but usually that's the set of instruments. There might be more or less depending, on, like I said, region. Second, image. There are certain stereotypes of country: pearl snap, plaid shirts, baseball cap to an extent, cowboy hats definitely, boots, work boots, cowboy boots, jeans of all sorts. Occupations, farmers, ranchers, cowboys, rodeo, all that. And there are exceptions. And there are people who don't necessarily fit that, who do country music. Like, I would say Sam Riggs doesn't fully fall into he doesn't always, in his shows, fall into the classic stereotypical country. Shane Smith from Sings with the Saints doesn't. I'd say the Gibbonses don't, at least from what I've seen of their pictures. I haven't actually seen them in person. Zach Nytom doesn't necessarily fit that thing. So I would say that image is probably the least important out of the three. But lyrical content. Country songs will usually be about down-to-earth things, things that matter to people. Country, songs about the love of our country, love of state. Yes, rap and R&B can have pride of where you're rap artists and people in R&B will also have tropes of being proud of the city they're from. But usually in country music, it's home state or country. Texas. Songs about genuine appreciation of a loved one, or hard day at work, or grateful for having a job, or things like that. Love songs, obviously. You'll hear more about nature in hunting also, but you'll probably hear more about the land and nature and country songs than you will of anything else. Also, going back to vocals and instrumentation, country will usually also have more of a raw sound. It will not. There might be some minimal voice correction in post-production, but for the most part, there's not that much enhancement or anything that goes on. And usually if there is vocal correction, it's added in last resort if something was bad on an otherwise good take, probably. I haven't worked in a studio with music, so I am not entirely sure about that, so correct me if I'm wrong. But back to where I was, the voice. So I looked up and I saw, like I said, I'm not familiar with Sam Hunt's looks. I've seen a few pictures of him, but he didn't look in those pictures what he did on stage. The music, like I said, the music was synth electric guitar, and this was confirmed when I played the song for my roommate. It sounds like Taylor Swift. That's not bad. If you like Taylor Swift, that's fine. But it even has this. I even compared it to I Knew You Were Trouble, and it has the same chord structure. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Different chord structure. People will use the same chord structures for songs all the time, and for much different results. But it sounded like a Taylor Swift song, but it was synth. He was also heavily auto-tuned in it, but I'll get more on that in a minute. What I saw on stage was he was wearing plaid shirt with black long sleeves all the way down to here, and his baseball cap so low to his face that you couldn't see his face from the angle the camera was at, and his choreography was that of a rapper. I know I am familiar with that because there's a reviewer online I like to watch called The Rap Critic, and also another reviewer called Todd in the Shadows that does reviews on pop songs. They're kind of some of the people who got me into wanting to do this in the first place. But his choreography and overall actions on stage were that of a rapper or someone who does R&B music. R&B-er? And then, of course, I honestly couldn't understand what he was saying due to the acoustics there, plus the distance and volume of the TV from where I was. But the only reason I could actually fully tell it was supposed to be a country song was the line, "in a small town." That's the only words I could really understand. So before I did this video, I went on iTunes and listened to the clip, and I realized he's an R&B singer. This little speaky, auto-tuney back into singing thing, those are R&B tropes. And even We Can Leave the Light On is an R&B song. The reason I'm doing this is because some people get up in arms when people will say Sam Hunt is not country. And what I'm trying to explain is why people say that. I'm not saying Sam Hunt is a horrible musician because he does R&B. If you like his music, that's fine. If you like Taylor Swift, that's fine. But country music has certain things that you have to fit into for it to be. He's like Jason Aldean. You can tell he's country because of his image, his sound, and overall lyrical content. I categorize him in pop country, and he definitely fell into the bro country's category of country, Nashville country this past few years. But when you hear his music, you can tell it's supposed to be country music. With Sam Hunt, you're listening to an R&B song. This is not a bad thing. If you like R&B, that's fine. I'm just trying to explain the attitude people have when they say so-and-so isn't country, this isn't country, or this isn't country. That's all. That's all I wanted to say about that. If you like their music, that's fine. I don't hate you for hating the music. I don't think Sam Hunt is a bad person for making the music he does. And honestly, being someone who likes to go out to dance halls and 1 and 2 step, his songs that I actually know were his, Leave the Night, honestly, the one I've ever really danced to, were fine for that. They're not songs that I will actively go out and get, but they don't fall into the country thing category to me, but I understand why people like them. But that's all I wanted to say. This has been David Ryan from Southbound I-35, just talking off my head. Have a good night.